afternoon and welcome to News 14. I'm Naomi Miller.
And I'm Mackenzie Jordan. Thank you for joining us.
Today we will be discussing causes and effects of urbanization around the world.
Stay tuned for our experts from the US and Canada, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Europe to discuss how urbanized areas change the economy, environment, and the social aspects.
Uganda is just one example of a country in sub-Saharan Africa with an urban population. Uganda has a population of around 40 million people, and the amount of those people living in urbanized areas is 18%. Here in sub-Saharan Africa, urbanization is honestly quite rapid. People have no other choice but to move to the urban areas in search of a better life for them and their families. The drastic change in weather patterns and record high temperatures left a lot of the region in a massive drought. The droughts have resulted in water shortages too. Without food and water, there is no way these people can survive. The people here that in the urbanized sectors, they have better job opportunities and chances to make more money to provide for their loved ones. The urban areas have better healthcare and doctors as well. They have the tools needed to prevent, treat, and stop illnesses from spreading. Urban areas are adding education services which will provide the training needed for jobs. One of the major issues going on here is that the rapid speed of urbanization is calling for a rapid amount of not what it says. One of the major issues going on here is that the rapid speed of urbanization is calling for a high demand for protein. Protein, which in terms we understand, means animals. Animals are being killed and used as bushmeat, and lots of the livestock is dying out or getting sick from the various diseases. The amounts of pollution caused by cars and lots of other byproducts are just adding on to the effects of globalization. The region experiences urbanization a bit differently than most places. In Africa, urbanization is mostly unplanned and unregulated growth. It is constantly changing, and it is quite easy to compare to a crazy roller coaster ride. The drive for expansion brings an increase in the transportation and technology networks. Railroads are under construction, or the plans are being put into action as we speak in some parts too. Sub-Saharan Africa's urbanization conflict is among one of the biggest.
How fascinating. Sub-Saharan Africa sure is going through many changes.
You can say that again. Next up, we have Gabby Roberts, stationed in Seattle.
Thank you, Naomi. This is Gabby Roberts reporting live in Seattle, Washington. Seattle, Washington has one of the most densely populated areas in the United States, with its population almost reaching 700,000 people. The United States faces many challenges when it comes to its urban population. Ever since the first development of our nation, people have been swarming in, making it harder to support these growing populations. However, the United States faces an increase in its urban areas now more than ever. This increase in urbanization has led to difficulties such as high pollution levels, lack of housing, and an increase of people living in poverty. While the United States is doing its best to secure the fate of their country by limiting harmful resources that cause pollution and by creating more job opportunities, urbanization continues to take its toll on the area. Despite these attempts, nearly 15% of Americans still live in poverty, and the pollution rates are higher now than ever. The increase in pollution leaves all life forms harmed to some degree, which creates a domino effect for the rest of the foundational, everyday tasks we perform. Pollution affects not only our bodies, but it affects other living things such as plants and the food we eat. And all the pollution urban areas give off takes a serious toll on them. In addition, the number of people living in poverty has skyrocketed, which leaves themselves and other people at risk. To try to help lower these numbers, the United States has provided some jobs and some housing opportunities. While they may be trying, the United States and its efforts may not be enough to support the people moving into urban areas. Well, you heard it here from Gabby Roberts, reporting live from Seattle, Washington, with your daily news.
And lastly, but surely not least, we have Rachel Kaplan in Paris, France, the city of love.
Thank you, Naomi and Mackenzie. Here we are in Paris, France, which is one of the most densely populated cities in the world. Paris is so densely populated because of its location on the Seine River, which was also a very busy trade route in Europe, and now Paris's economy has become highly globalized. Globalization in Europe has been occurring rapidly, so European governments put together the Lisbon strategy. This will force the low-paying, unskilled jobs into Asia, while the highly trained elite class will remain in Europe. In addition, the European Union gave out structural funds to European countries. They have used these funds to improve roads, streetlights, and sewer systems, making the city look more attractive and drawing more people in. Urbanization is also contributing to global climate change due to emissions. This can be the cause of environmental disasters such as drought and flooding, which are forcing refugees into Europe. Europe simply cannot turn these refugees down because they will have nowhere else to go. While urbanization has greatly helped Europe as a whole, there are many environmental, economical, and social effects, both good and bad. The lifestyle in Europe has transitioned into smaller households with higher levels of consumption. This is pricier and more difficult to afford. This lifestyle can also be beneficial because people are requiring more resources, which is enabling more industries to develop. However, this is also very devastating to the environment. The Alps have lost 2/3 of its water, and the melting rate of the Greenland ice sheet has doubled since the 1990s. Urbanization has also caused other problems such as deadly heat waves, the spread of disease, and changing crop seasons. In Europe, 90% of citizens are exposed to unhealthy pollutants, which is causing many people to get sick. They are often missing work or school.
Thank you for joining us for this News 14 weekly report. I'm Naomi Miller.
And I'm Mackenzie Jordan. We'll see you next time.